So today we're talking about the paw drill. It's one of the best ways to make sure those hamstrings are firing and we're getting that foot to land under our hip. I'm Dylan Allen from Allen Endurance Coaching. Before we get any further, make sure you smash that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss any other videos. If you know someone who could potentially use this, don't be afraid to send this to them. It's a really useful drill. The paw drill. So the paw drill is really about getting the hamstring firing and getting some knee drive. It does both things. For most folks, the hip flexor is the part where they feel it the most while they're doing it. It's what's doing the most work. But the biomechanical pathway of that neuromuscular pathway of getting the foot landing under the hip is what we're talking about today. So as runners, one of the things that a lot of runners struggle with is getting the foot to land under the hip so it's more efficient energetically, so we're not wasting energy with that braking action for landing on our heel in front of our hip. But it's less force that our glute has to stabilize to keep the leg from buckling. And one of the fundamental causes of IT band syndrome and runner's knee and hip bursitis and a lot of those other really common overuse injuries for runners is that knee buckling in on impact. And you can either strengthen the glute complex in the hip so much that it doesn't matter how much force you're putting on it, it's going to keep the leg stable. Or you can get better mechanics so that it doesn't have to absorb as much force on impact, or ideally some combination of the two. So the paw drill kind of does a little of both. It strengthens the hip. It also helps with foot placement under our hip and better biomechanics, so we're running more efficiently, both metabolically and biomechanically. So the paw drill. It's called paw drill because we're going to paw the ground. The point of the drill is our resting position is right here. So we're getting that knee lift, working the hip flexor and the glutes. We're also keeping this foot up. Our foot is dorsal flexed. We're not pointing down. The toes pulled up, so we're working the shin, which will also help if you got some shin splint issues. These are the muscles you need to strengthen up. But we also want the foot here, not out here, right? So we need to have that hamstring engaged all the way up here, that full range of motion. And I find a lot of runners, if they're landing here in front of their hip, when they're bringing their leg up, they're kind of sweeping their leg through, almost like a kind of soccer ball or a football. But if my foot's out here, it's going to land in front of my hip. If I'm cycling my leg through and that foot's coming over the knee and stuck in real close to my hip, on the way down, it's going to land more than likely under my hip, or at least closer to under my hip than if my foot is swept up and plopping down. And so the paw drill really reinforces this cycle mechanic. And so the rest position is right here. We want it in nice and close to the knee. From the front, looks like this. We're right here. Here's all the way through. Now, I will say it is very handy to have a wall or something to hang on to if you don't have a great sense of balance, or if you got a weak core, or if you got a weak ankle. If you have loose ankles, if you've sprained your ankle or something and it's wobbly, have something to hang on to. That way you're stable. And that way you can still get that full snap action, but you don't have to worry about falling over. And so the rest position is right here. And then in one quick snap motion, we want to get that full cycle all the way out, through, landing under our hip, and then back through. Ha! And notice my foot isn't getting all the way up here. We don't run that way, right? Core is engaged, we're leaning forward. We're on the ball of the bottom foot, coming all the way through. And the arms going is great. But we want to get that foot up, which is why we stop between each rep. We want to have that foot stop right here, because we want that hamstring fully engaged so that we're not accidentally just sweeping that foot through, because we're more focused on the push portion and not the recovery. That recovery is the most important part, especially for this drill. You'll probably feel it in your hip flexors more than anywhere else. You might feel a little in your hamstrings. We are getting hamstrings firing, but we want to be right here. So that's the paw drill. It's great. It's a really good drill. It really works your hip flexors too, which helps with that knee drive. It helps with the hip stability, because especially if you're balancing on one leg, and it gets those hamstrings firing. So we're landing under our hip because our foot is tucked up under our hip instead of dangling out in front of our knee. It's a really good drill. I highly recommend it, especially if you find yourself landing in front of your hip. And because it's got that fast twitch snap to it, it helps with the neuromuscular coordination and better biomechanics in general. If you have any questions, leave me a comment down below. I want to know what you think. Have you done this drill before? If you haven't, do it. Let me know how you feel afterwards. Don't get too greedy your first go around. 10 to 15 reps on each leg will probably do it. Most people, it's their hip flexors that are weak link in the chain. So, questions, comments, leave them below. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. Send this out on social media. Let folks know. It is a really useful drill, and I haven't seen it around in a lot of places. So, let me know what you think. Till next time, train smart.